Okay, I think we're back now. Yeah, my internet and my 4G is playing tricks on me. So, I was talking about caribou. Okay, we're having problems with the signal now. Am I back? Here we go. Now I'm back. My internet's going in and out. So, bullet that you could hunt caribou like a whitetail, but you could also run into a brown bear. What would you use? What would be the best thing you would use? Sorry about that. That definitely is a little bit difficult with the technology here. So, what would you use with brown bear in the area, but you needed a whitetail like bullet for the game you're hunting? Just something to think about. What would you use? So, hopefully these comments will get back up. Yeah, we lost connection there. Sorry about that, Dan. So, if you're just joining us, we're talking about hunting loads and what your favorite hunting load is. My live stream connection went in and out just a little bit. So I appreciate the people that were watching earlier. Then my connection went out and kind of lost them. But we're back, and we're talking about some hunting loads, favorite hunting stories. While I'm here, I'm going to tell the story that I've alluded to in a couple of videos. And this is going to, sorry, I got to readjust here. This is going to take a little bit of while. 2 years ago was my first successful caribou hunting trip, my first caribou hunting trip. And I was coaching high school football at the time. Me and one of the fellow coaches, we tried to run up after a football game to the Denali Highway. So this is about 5.5 hours from Anchorage. All right. And we run up to the Denali Highway. I had my Ruger American 30-06 at the time. I've since sold it to him, actually. And because of the magazine issues. But that was our first mistake, all right? First mistake. This is one of those I should be dead in Alaska stories. So that was our first mistake. We run up after a football game. The game ended at 9 o'clock. I parked in the shopping center across the street because I had all my gun stuff in the car. So I didn't want to park in this high school parking lot because of the law. And my buddy and I, we ran over there. We drove in my vehicle, some little smaller vehicle, all the way up to the Denali Highway, made it to mile marker 87, which is about 50 miles in. And all of a sudden, we park. It's about 3 a.m. in the morning. And we parked in this area that I had scouted, and it looked kind of good. And there were some tracks in some places. And so we go in there in the morning. Nothing. It was in a motorized zone, so a lot of people were on four-wheelers around us, and we were not. So, all right. Hey, Shooter 1924, 325 grain, 45, 7-day Hornady lever evolution. Great for anything I'd run into like hogs, rams, deers, etc., though not a long-range tool. Hey, I think you could probably actually get out to 250 to 300 yards with that thing, and people used to shoot a whole lot lesser loads than that, 1,000 yards with 45-70, 45-90, 45-120 sharps, those kinds of things. So, yeah, I think you could do it as a long range if you had a scope and stuff. I've actually considered putting a little scope on my 45-70 and doing that. So, glad you're here, Shooter. Definitely glad you're here. By the way, you requested some 300 grain Hornady XTP. I just haven't edited the video yet. In the 44 Magnums, I did a long barrel versus short barrel, but didn't have time to do any penetration tests. So I will definitely get that video up for you, because I think it was you that requested the 300 XTP. If it wasn't you, I'm sorry. Anyway, shooting with Uncle Dan says you must be a Texan for hogs, rams, deer. Maybe. Anyway, so we're up on the Denali Highway, mile marker 87, and we don't see anything. Tons of blueberries everywhere. 1895 guy gun iron sights. Tons of blueberries everywhere. You could have grabbed as many 6-gallon buckets, 5-gallon buckets worth of blueberries as you wanted. You could have just picked berries all day. They weren't quite ripe yet. This is important to the story, though. Okay. All right. So we get out of there. We go to a place me and my brother had seen a large bull caribou a few years back. And this large bull caribou was in a river valley. And we got to the place where we'd seen them, and we sat on this one area, took naps, and glassed all afternoon. We were probably about 3/4 of a mile in. It was a non-motorized zone, so everybody that was there was non-motorized. You had to walk in, or horses, or bikes. And so we were scouting that and glassing that, and we saw caribou way across the valley. All right, and so they're 7,000 yards across this river valley, and so we decided we'd find a trail on the other side of the valley, which we did. And that trail we found on the other side of the valley. The next morning, it was raining really hard. We got up about an hour later than we wanted to. The brush was very, very thick. My buddy decides to cut through the adler brush in the rain in the morning. Not a good thing in bear country. All right. And so that was our second big mistake. Our first big mistake, well, his first big mistake was I was really starting to deal with a tendonitis / unknown mystery pain in my legs. And so the first big mistake was him going with somebody who wasn't physically enough in shape. And the second big mistake was driving up after a football game. Third big mistake was cutting off into the brush because we got really soaked. We had water resistant stuff, but we just got really soaked. So we're going into the brush, going down. We finally sit in a place where we were going to glass about 11:15. So we just took a long time going through all that brush. And we did better this year, but it's in the same spot that I did the caribou hunting video this year, the summer one. Anyway, we got down there, and, we're supposed to leave at 12:30. And William S. wants to know, which is better tasting meat, elk, caribou, or moose? To me, caribou is the best steak. Moose is the best burger. The only elk I've had was elk bacon, and it was delicious. So, if you want burger, I think moose is a little bit better. It tastes a lot more like ground beef, but a lot healthier, tastes lean. And, all right. Elk, caribou, or moose. A caribou backstrap steak is amazing. You don't even have to marinate it. It's great. Shooter 1924. If he's in bear country, bringing a guy with a bum leg is a good plan. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. If I hadn't made it through this, I would not be on this chat. So anyway, we get down to where we're going to last, and all of a sudden, about 900 yards out there, here come two bull caribou. One small bull and one pretty good-sized bull, bigger than anything I've killed so far. He wouldn't make the record books, but he had a good single state shovel in front with another one starting to form, and he stood a good three feet off his head. He was nice. He was nice bull caribou. He wouldn't have made a record book, but he was nice bull caribou, and we watched them for forever. They came across us from our right to our left across the view, and they'd walked off, and they were still at that distance. And then we started seeing them come back, so we tried to make a stalk and get out in front of them, and it didn't work, and they saw us. And then the young bull, we just watched him for hours. He was going around like crazy. Now, granted, we were supposed to leave at 12:30 and get out of there so we could make it back to Anchorage the next day. And so we only really had a day and a half to hunt. And so we got in there, and we William S. I was afraid you were going to say caribou only because we don't have them down here. All right. Shooting with Uncle Dan. I always carry my baseball bat to hit my buddy and then run while I run. Love elk. Hey, well, yeah, thanks. You know, there's the joke around here. The best bear protection pistol is the 22 because you shoot your buddy in the leg and run. Yeah, it's a terrible joke. Don't ever do that. But yeah, you don't need it with me. I already got bum legs. I'll stand and fight. You run. All right. So anyway, we get down here and we're just glassing on this new edge of a smaller hill that's closer to where that 900-yard shot would be about a 500-yard shot. And all of a sudden, on the front side of this lake, a caribou gets up and walks across. my buddy's like, shoot him, shoot him. And so I shoot him. Oh yeah, William, bison is very good too. Haven't tried antelope, although I saw like 500 of them driving through Wyoming. And so I shot, and I missed right over the top, and the thing ran towards us, and my buddy's like, shoot him again, shoot him again. And I did, and he quivered, and then he went down after a couple more shots. And this is when the Ruger American was a bad idea, because I had to start hand feeding rounds into it. And so it was a bad idea, hand feeding those rounds. And you just don't want a gun whose magazines don't work in bear country. You ended up having a single shot rifle. I was having problems with the 45 Super. It got all wet and stuff like that. Fired off a couple of rounds to let my buddy know where I was at. And it was jamming. So I was stuck out there. The only gun working was my Glock 43 that was on my side, tucked under things. And anyway, we had to wade across this big, thick creek to get to the caribou. And so we got pretty soaking wet there. I had some hip waders, but anyway, it took us about 2 hours to get this done. We were supposed to leave at 12, and by the time we got the thing quartered up, it was 5:30. So big problem. And I got bum legs. I cannot walk back up the mountain. My buddy's going to bring the kayak back down to me. He's going to come straight down the mountain from the truck instead of going through the trail and through the brush like we did and get to me on the creek. And that didn't work out. He wore himself out getting that kayak in there and dragging it down the mountain and getting to the creek, and then getting up the creek. He drank water at the truck and filled up a snack, but he did not bring any more water or anything with him. And I asked him to bring my my meat frame backpack. Meanwhile, I had carried all the meat over to the lake that we thought connected to the creek, because it looked like it did, and it didn't. I discovered as he was pulling up. So I literally, we were both exhausted by this time, and we literally had to drag the meat across the grassy things. We didn't have the strength to carry it, and to the beach. And by the time we did that, it's 2 a.m. And I'm calling to him. So, but one bad decision after another after another. Our fourth big mistake was shooting that caribou way too late, not coming back the next weekend like we had originally planned. And so we shot that caribou way too late. Fourth big mistake. Splitting up was a big mistake. Yes, Glock pretty much always works. You're right, shooting with Uncle Dan. Pretty much always works. All that same bear defense ammo in an extended magazine, it's running plus P plus, even with their regular a spring like the Ghost, it'll occasionally jam. So you have to watch about that, because the plus P plus is moving the slide too fast. So you're awfully young to have a bum leg. Well, I'm older. I'm 37, so I'm 36. I'm pushing 40. So I am older than I look to me. And then we don't know what's wrong. No, it's not a football injury. That would be a neck thing. But we really just don't know what's wrong. So anyway, thanks for your concern, though. Shooting with Uncle Dan. In fact, when I'm done with this broadcast, I'm going to edit some videos and then go to the hydro massage bed at Planet Fitness. Anyway, so we're going down. We got the meat to the beach, and we made our fifth and probably most deadly decision of the night. If we had just stayed on the beach right there, we would have been fine. That's what I wanted to do. I had to be at work the next day. I had to be at work. It's 2 a.m. I had to be at work at 8 a.m., 5.5 hours away. And I wasn't thinking straight and just thinking, hey, I'm not going to make it. So anyway, we decided we would both get in the kayak that was designed for one person and put the meat on there. And I will let you guys guess in the comments how far down the stream we made it before flipping over. So go ahead and guess in the comments. Probably a little farther than you think. We actually found the spot walking back this year. I even found my my face mask from last year that I had taken off because it was so wet. Um, so we made it a ways down. Uh, whichever were your 5 feet. Oh, give us some more credit than that. Vanessa Kitty. Oh, hey, thanks for joining us. Temperature of the water. Uh, 200 yards, William S. You are close. Somewhere in that range. All the way to the bottom, quarter of a mile. Oh, thanks, Shooter 1924. Temperature of the water was, the air temperature had gone from 70 during the day. This was early August. August 10th is when the hunting season opened up. It had gone from 70 to about 36 at this time, 37. So the temperature of the water was pretty iffy. The temperature of the water. It wasn't enough to actually give you frostbite, but it was enough that if you're wet and the air temperature is 36, between 36 and 39, yeah, you're going to suffer hypothermia. And we made about 350 yards down the thing. We were taking on water. Vanessa Kitty wants to know the location. Off the Denali Highway. And we were taking on water, and we flipped. We pulled the boat all the way to the bottom. It was you were able to touch the bottom. So like by standing up, it was only probably about 3.5, 4 feet deep where we flipped, and the whole stream was like that. And this year, it was hard to find a place. This year, it hadn't rained as much or didn't have as much snow up there or something. This year, it was like 1.5 feet. That stream was. I don't know what the deal was, but it definitely was hard, and we huddled up together. That we didn't huddle naked. I'm just going to say, but we huddled up together and had to put the life vest around us and control our breathing. And because we had taken Vanessa Kitty, I fell in Fush Creek. I don't know where that's up. At up to neck in summer, water temp was 33 degrees. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the water temperature was, between the 30s and the 40s. Anyway, basically, we had to huddle together, and because we had packed light, and he didn't bring my frame pack back that I could have packed meat out on, and we were exhausted, and we were now both out of water because I'd given him my last water. Yeah, I know where Fish Creek is. All right, across the way from Anchorage. Yeah. Basically, we were out of water. We were out of food. We were huddled together, and you talk about shivering. This was not shivering. This was convulsing. This is feeling a shiver in your toe, and all of a sudden feeling it in the back of your ears, and shaking your whole body violently in between. And I literally had to hunker down inside my hoodie like this that I was wearing, and rain jacket was all there. All right. We tried to get a fire started, but everything was soaked. All the fire starting matches were soaked. When he didn't bring my good backpack with me, my good matches weren't there, and so it's not his fault. He decided to save on weight, and I don't blame him. But he definitely should have brought some matches and some stuff like that. And I should have too. We packed a little light bag just to walk in there really, really far. And basically, he and I huddled together. We got about 15, 20 minutes of sleep here and there. And at 4 a.m., it started getting light again. And so when it got light enough, he said, I can make it. Let me go up the mountain. You go down in the kayak with the rest of the meat, which I hadn't lost any meat at this point. And so that's what we did. And I ski-daddled as fast as I could paddle down the kayak, down that river. And it got, that river was a pretty lazy river. Then it combined with another river that was down at the bottom, and never got a fire started. Tried. All I could try to do was take the bullet out of a casing and put it at some dry tinder, but it had started sprinkling, and none of the tinder was dry enough to really do that. So anyway, we're paddling down, and I make it to all the way to the road where there's a takeout and a lodge, and I hit an eddy, and I ran into a jet boat that was parked there, and flipped the kayak, lost the antlers and the front shoulder quarter. Yelling for help, this guy comes out of his camper, and by the time I got the boat stabilized and I pulled it to the shore, by the time he got his clothes on and got out, but he threw me in his camper and threw a sleeping bag on me, threw me dry clothes on me, and filled me full of coffee, which, if you've watched my videos, some of you know I have a stomach condition. I got celiac with IBS, and I don't eat any bread, no bread, nothing. Everything's all natural, and coffee is not one of those things I can have. And so this warmed me up pretty good, filling me with hot coffee. But then I had to go back outside when it was cold and have the craps. So too much information, I'm sure. But it's just something to think about. Always keep hot tea with you. All right. Shooting with Uncle Dan. I was waded waist deep river in Colorado with my longbow elk hunting, and found out the next day there was a footbridge about 100 yards downstream, Congeos River. Wow. I always carry cotton balls of Vaseline, flint, and steel. Yeah, I was dumb. This was dumb. We should have. This was two guys who were just absolutely dumb in Alaska. Now we don't go duck hunting 100 yards from the truck without all that stuff. We were about 4 miles back in, or 3.5 miles back in, maybe. And anyway, so once I got taken care of, we went to go find my buddy who was walking up the mountain. And remember those blueberries I talked to you about? That was key. He was eating on those blueberries and taking his time. Now, here's a very important part. I was giving him a hard... Andrew Smith, I'm gluten-free too. That explains the sharts when I drink coffee. There's usually not gluten in the coffee. It's the beans, and the beans have proteins and stuff that if you've got IBS like me, you just cannot process. So nice to see you, Andrew Smith. Thanks for joining too. We're talking about favorite hunting stories and favorite hunting loads. So if you have your favorite hunting load, just type it in the comments, and I'll make sure that everybody is watching. So, or everybody knows what your favorite hunting load is. Anyway, my signal's going in and out. I apologize for that. So anyway, we are Vanessa Kitty. I went moose hunting with 3 people. I was the only one who brought gear to butcher and survive trouble. Hey, Fresh Fowler, how you doing? Love the new haircut. I watched you do it, and you are awesome, man. Thanks. I feel kind of bad because I was going to do it anyway, but I didn't know how to top the Scotsman, so I just went razor, and I should have taken a picture of it, but that's the last time I tried to. This the last time I tried to top the Scotsman, because there's like literally all these blood spots, little blood spots in the back of my head. Got a moose on the Yukon River in 1984. Hey, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to try to go back to the same spot and get moose, because I know there's plenty in there, plenty of cows, and hopefully there to be the 40. 45 ACP and the CMMG Guard. I love that rifle. I picked one up, but I haven't been able to afford one. I don't know what I'm going to have to sell. I might cut off my legs and sell them, since they're pretty bummed to get one. But anyway, it's probably not a good joke to make. Anyway, so we're down there, and we go back to try to find my partner, and we yell at the trailhead and stuff, and make some shooting noise, trying to find him, and he doesn't yell or shoot back. So we go back and get more water. The 2 guys I met were Jack and Jack, and the Jack that was more in shape went down with me down the trail to go find him after I'd filled up on water and more coffee. And then my the other Jack, who was a little less shape, was at the trail camp pad and built the fire. And we found my buddy about 400 yards down trail, brought him snacks, granola bars, all sorts of snacks, water, assisted. Now, this is one thing. He was eating those blueberries, and this is one thing that was pretty big. And Fresh Flower looks good to me. That's literally how I wear mine year round. That's how I should be wearing mine. Yeah, bald is beautiful. That's right. Bald is beautiful. All right, once this goatee grows back, I'll look like, what's his name from Breaking Bad? Anyway, my buddy was carrying the 12 gauge shotgun. He wasn't real familiar with the rifle at the time, and he was carrying my 12 gauge 870, and he was shooting black, or he wasn't shooting. I just threw in Black Magic Magnum slugs for him, and when that kayak flicked over, those slugs went bad, and we didn't know it till months later when I tried to shoot him at the range. But he had actually put the shotgun on his back and carried the 44 single action that I have, and was just carrying it around, ready to pull the hammer in case a bear was right there. And honestly, that was actually the smarter thing to do, even though I told him it was dumber at the time, because that water ammo was waterproof. All right. So we're talking about your favorite hunting loads. Andrew Smith has a 45 ACP, and his CMMG guard works great on feral cats. I'm assuming you mean wild cats, that, you know, lynx and stuff like that want to get into your stuff. Fresh Flower, exactly. We'll all be that way anyway. Yeah, one day we will all be that way, definitely. So I want to know, hey, Vanessa Kitty, what did you shoot that bull with? And yeah, when are you going to throw up some pictures? I wish you could throw up pictures in the live chat. Throw a picture up on the Facebook page. I want to see it. Alaskan Ballistics Facebook page. So anyway, guys, it's pretty long chat here. Appreciate the 7 people, 8 people that are watching. So put in the comments definitely what you like, and what your favorite loads are for your different what your favorite loads are for the different things you like. So yes, we are all safe and sound. That's why we had a much better plan this year with, you know, wheeling and carrying in our boats, and then making sure we got in there pretty good. So tell us your favorite hunting load. Fresh Flower, Shooter 1924. You already told us yours. Vanessa Kitty, those kinds of things. So anyway, thinking about doing a giveaway for 1,000 subscribers when we get there. So be thinking about what things you think you want. Hornady Super Performance SST and 270 WSM. Ooh, that's a nice one. 629 44 Magnum. I enjoy hunting with the handgun. I don't have pictures from back then. Okay, yeah, I can understand that. Well, if you still have the antlers, take a picture of the antlers. All right, shooting with Uncle Dad. Had a fun night, y'all. Yeah, it's probably really late there in Texas. Well, I've had a fun night too, and this is just a simple discussion. But Fresh Flower, 130 grain, great for deer and hog. Yeah, I bet it is. But that's an awesome load. So we're gonna go ahead and kick out of here. And sorry, the live stream feed isn't that great. 300 Winchester Magnum rifle for moose and black bear. And thanks, guys. And thanks for trying to do your my subs higher, Shooter 1924. See you, Wheelchair Warrior. And guys, just thank y'all so much for watching and discussing these things. I'm trying to figure out how to do the live chat with everybody. I don't think I have the right technology yet, so I'm going to have to get in there and do that. So God bless y'all. Have a good night. We'll see you at the range, and be looking for some videos with this guy. All right, and some more Glock 40 videos. Got a Ruger Alaskan I borrowed from a friend. You saw it in the bear charging video. That's coming up. I'm working on that editing right now, as a matter of fact. And so Vanessa Kitty, Fresh Fowler, Wheelchair Warrior, Andrew Smith, Shooting with Uncle Dan, Shooter 1924. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks all y'all for watching later. And sorry, the time zones, it's a little late here. God bless y'all.